eNCA election bus is in Kimberley in the Northern Cape. Our team plans to speak to the people of the controversial town of Orania, also in the province. The town is inhabited by only white Afrikaners who aim to preserve their cultural heritage. So what are their expectations for this year's elections? eNCA's Xoli Mgambi is about 10 kilometers away from Orania. Xoli joining us now. So Xoli, if things are to go as per the usual Orania script, one would hazard a guess that a black journalist like you will not be allowed anywhere near the town.
Well, Tembegela, I've got to tell you, I don't know what it is about me that they perhaps liked, because I cracked the nut and I don't know what it is that I'm going to see. But we are promised a warm welcome, so we shall see. Right now, as I speak to you, the bus has actually slowed down considerably. And I'm already starting to see lots of orange around me. And as we were driving in Tembegile, I've got to tell you that there are huge tracts of farmland that I can see, and you can see lots of maize. This area of Orania is very agriculture intensive. In fact, agriculture is one of the key economic drivers of this town of Orania. So I don't know, Tembegile, what it is about me. Maybe I'm just too handsome. They just want me in Orania. It's definitely your charm, Xoli. It's definitely your charm.
Let's talk about Orania and the fact that it's basically an area that exists outside of South Africa. What interest do people there have in our election this year?
Well, Tembegile, let me actually correct you. Orania is a place inside South Africa. Of course, they would love for them to be independent of South Africa. It's something that they've already started, by the way. This idea was thought up by Professor Karl Bischoff, Boshoff, I should say, sorry about that. And it was him and a couple of other thinkers that thought that the Afrikaner people should have their own sort of independent state, and that dream came about for them in 1991 when they could eventually purchase this particular place from the Department of Water Affairs. And you asked the question, what is it that they're going to be, or who they're going to be voting for? But I'm assuming that was your question. We don't know, Tembegile, who they vote for come national election, but they very much part and parcel of South Africa. It's quite possible that they're going to tell us that they do vote come national elections. But what we do know, just from reading up about the place, is that they do have an election every 5 years, but this is a municipal election that takes place inside the confines of Orania. But that election coincides with South Africa's municipal elections, and they elect within the Orania Representative Council new leadership after every 5 years. And so Orania, it does appear that it has its own, or it administers its own municipality, and the residents here pay rates and taxes to that particular municipality.
Let's do a quick recon of your travels here for a moment, Xoli. You've traveled to Limpopo, you were in the northwest just yesterday, you're now in the Northern Cape. Having traveled to all three provinces, is there any difference in the demands and interests of South Africans in those areas?
What's the question again, Tembegile? What's the interest in?
My question to you was, having traveled to three provinces, Limpopo, the Northern Cape, and now as well as the Northwest yesterday, is there a difference at all in the interests and demands of South Africans?
There is, Tembegile. I've got to tell you, I'm struggling to make sense of the question you're asking me, but let me try and answer you this way, that I have found lots of interest in South Africans who say, yes, they're interested in voting, and some of them say, yes, we were prepared to vote, but because of the scandals that the political parties are mired in at the moment. We, or I, for example, will decide not to vote and withhold my vote. This was an opinion of a young person as we entered Mahikeng. But, Tembegile, if you also ask me, though, of the most interesting bits about the trip, my highlights, if you like, I must tell you that in Guyana, for the first time in a very long time, I was reintroduced into bathing in Ivascombe. I'm sure you will know Ivascombe, being a Xhosa-speaking person. It's essentially a bath basin that you get given, and the water crisis in Guyana welcomed us to that. The other place that, or the other interesting bit that I came across, it would have been in Dube. In Soweto. That's where this bus first started, and there I once again got to experience life in a hostel. Once upon a time, when I was a young kid from the Eastern Cape, we would travel during school holidays to visit my father, believe it or not, in the notorious Cleveland's hostel, and he was a migrant worker who traveled from the Eastern Cape to work in Durban. So we had interesting views from that hostel watching the Jan Smuts airport. But my sense of the Dube hostel was not pretty. It's not a pretty sight. Children there, I don't think they have much to aspire to, except the dirt that is around them. It's unthinkable that 25 years into democracy you still have places that look the way that the Dube hostel is at the moment. So these are just some of the highlights for me, Tembegile, thus far on this road trip.